Welcome guys and girls, this is We Compare Chains and this is just going to be a rough and ready introduction video into the template I intend to use in future videos on this channel to compare cryptos. This is version 1.0 of the template, so I suspect there will be multiple changes early on as I get feedback. I've already used it to compare two cryptos, both Bitcoin and Ripple, so those videos will be out shortly. But in the process my original template has changed many times. So I expect it will continue to do so at least early on. At the moment I will have less than 2 days a week to work on this, so don't expect daily videos from me like you might get from other YouTubers, but I hope to put as much time as possible into it. I should also get some time in the evenings, I hope, so I might release a short video here and there, but we'll see. I consider myself as someone who knows more about general economics than a hardcore technical person, so I'll do my best, but there might be some errors in there, so if there is, just let me know in the comments. Anyway, onto the template. So at the top there's obviously a disclaimer that I'm not a financial advisor and that although I'll do my best, I cannot guarantee the accuracy of the information in the document. I'll also state whether I've got any reasonable amount of cryptocurrency other than just a little bit for testing that might cause a conflict of interest. And then obviously we've got the name of the currency and previous names, so if they've changed the name, what the previous names were and the dates that they were called that. Short summary of intent of the coin, so if it's a currency, say it's a currency, and if they have any main differences between other currencies, that'll be just a short overall thing of what the coin is. Then the code, so that's the 3-letter code used on exchanges, or sometimes 4 letters. Market cap is the total market capitalization of the coin. Market cap updated, that's the last time I updated that number, because obviously that fluctuates regularly. The coinmarketcap.com ranking, so whether it's 1, 2, 3, so one's Bitcoin at the moment, and the date that was last updated, because obviously that will change as well. Then I'm going to use those two things to generate a market cap score. So that'll be a score given to the coin based on market cap as a percentage of Bitcoin's market cap. So if it's 0.01 to 0.1% of Bitcoin's market cap, it'll get 1 point. 0.1 to 0.5% will get 2 points, and so on. And on top of that, if it's in the top 10 coins, it'll get +3, top 50 +2, top 100 +1. Then there's the trading volume, so that's the 30-day trading volume from coinmarketcap.com and the date that I last updated that. And then there's a trading volume score, which is similar to the market cap score, so that's based on a percentage of Bitcoin's trading volume at the time. Then there's whether the coin's a proof of work, proof of stake or other, and if it's applicable, the algorithm will go in here, along with the block time and block size. Annual inflation rate is obviously how many additional coins are being added to the total number annually, and the date that I last updated that, so some coins have a decreasing inflation rate, so that'll be important to keep that updated if it's especially if it's rapidly going down. And future inflation rate declines, and then from that I'll determine an inflation rate score. So if it's deflationary, it'll get 10 points. If it's 0 to 5% inflation, it'll get 7 points. 5 to 10%, it'll get 6 points, and so on. And if the inflation rate goes down over time, it'll get an extra 3 points. Then there's the circulating coin supply, so that's the number of coins currently in circulation and the date that I've updated that. Max coin supply, or if they just keep on going on, that'll be from January in the year 2100. And then the circulating supply is a percentage of maximum, and then a score for the circulating percentage. So 90 to 100% of the coins are already out and circulating, then that'll be 10 points. 80 to 90 will be 8 points, and so on. Pre-mine is a percentage of max supply, So if there's a developer pre-mine, what percentage is it compared to the maximum supply? And that will also include if it's a poorly distributed pre-mine. Then there's a score for pre-mine percentage, so no pre-mine will be 10 points, 0 to 10% will be 9 points, etc. Then there's some privacy features, so does it currently have privacy or is it planned, and what method do they use to ensure privacy, and the privacy strength. So that the privacy strength is going to be a tricky one for me to try and figure out at the moment, so I'm not sure how I'll go there, but I'll try and do my best. And then I'm going to try and figure out a privacy score. So the privacy score will be, if it's got privacy currently, that'll be +5, and if it's planned to be +1, and then I'll get a privacy strength bonus. So if it's N8, it'll be 0, low, 0, mid, 2, high, 5. Centralization, is the coin centralized, and some text around that, plus a 1 to 5 score, with 1 being highly decentralized and 5 being virtually completely centralized. This is also going to be a bit of a tricky one to figure out without set guidelines as to how exactly I'm going to decide how centralized it is. But again, I'll do my best. And then it will receive a score based on the centralization level. Team, obviously the team working on the coin, so how big it is, what sort of skills they've got, any history if it's necessary, and how's the team funded, are they paid proper wages, or is it they just paid in the crypto that they're developing, or are they just relying on volunteers? Then I'll give them a team score, so that's going to be roughly +1 per fully paid employee or equivalent. So I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do if they're paid in the development crypto. I might call that half a person or something, I'm not really sure. But again, I'll work with that, and I'm sure I might get some comments and feedback which I'll use to decide, or help me decide what I should do there. Start date, so when was the crypto founded, and then a start date score. So basically the older the crypto is, it gets more points, up to 24 months. Transactions per second, so this is going to be stress tested. Maximum transactions per second on the main blockchain, does not take into account second layer solutions or side chains, and theoretical maximums are not counted. And the transaction second layer or side chains currently implemented, so that's if they've got one of those second layers or side chains like Lightning Network. The transaction fee average in US dollars, and the date that I last updated that. And then I'll give them a transaction score. So transactions per second, 0 to 10, they'll get 0. 10 to 50, they'll get +1. 50 to 100, they'll get +2. 100 to 1000, they'll get +3, etc. Then if there's a second layer solution, they'll get an extra half of score of the transactions per second of the second layer solution. And then whether they've got fees, what the fees are, they'll get points based on that. So if there's no fees to less than 1 cent fee, no, sorry, not 1 cent, 0.01 of 1%, then they'll get 0 unless blockchain exploit is addressed, because obviously if you have free transactions and everything's got to be stored, then that runs the risk of spam attacks and things like that. So 0.01 of a cent to 1 cent, they'll get 4 points. 1 cent to 20 cents, they'll get 2 points. 20 cents to $1, they'll get 1 point. And if the transaction fees are more than $1, they'll get 0 points. The type of the currency, this will just be one word, unlike earlier where I'm going to write a little bit about it. So currency, platform, utility, exchange, or some others will probably turn up. Storage. Degree of completion. So 1 will be no minimum viable product, 2 will be minimum viable product but buggy and missing many of the planned features, Number 3 will be minimum viable product with not very many bugs and a reasonable amount of features. 4 does virtually everything planned, and 5 is classed as completed. And then the date that I last updated that information, and then they get the score based on how completed it is. Open source, so is the source code available, and if it is they get plus 20. Governance, so basically how the coin is updated and what guards are put in place to prevent other people's codes just being run, and or how easily it is to update for improvements and things like that. Treasury system, so does it allow allocate a portion of newly minted coins to a treasury? So Dash, for example, has a 10% treasury. And then I'll give them a governance and treasury score based on how good I think the governance is and whether or not they have a treasury system. So this is makes sense for blockchain. So does it make sense to use a blockchain for this application, or to have the application decentralized, or could it just be done with generally cheaper database? So if it makes sense, then it won't affect the score, but if it doesn't make any sense, then they'll lose 20 points. So an example of that might be putting land on the blockchain, like land titles on the blockchain. I just don't see any point in that. Government runs land, so there's no point having it decentralized. And then we've got current development rate. So does it appear to be under active development? Number 1 is project looks abandoned. Number 2, cannot see development due to closed source. Number 3 is slow development, possibly by a single person. Number 4 is under a modest development rate. And rate 5 is very active development. So for number 4, modest development rate, I'm going to use roughly, if it seems like there'd be more than 10 full-time employees, then it's very active. Less than 10 full-time employees, it'll be modest. Date development rate updated, development rate score. So basically it's 0 unless their degree of completion is low, if the development rate is abandoned. And then it's, well, you can see there, so cannot see development due to closed source would be 1 point all the way up to very active development, which would be 10 points. Risk of security breach, so are there known security flaws? So for an example, if it's a proof of work coin with a very small hash rate, then it might be attacked by a moderate sized Bitcoin miner in a 51% attack or something like that. And then I'll give a score based on the security. This risk of security breach is going to be a very difficult one to try and do fairly, because there's always going to be conflicting information about, obviously the owners of the coin are going to say every security breach isn't a real issue, and other people are going to claim that they can attack it easily, but then without any evidence of them actually attacking it, how do you really know that it can be done? So that's probably going to be a pretty tricky one to try and keep fair as well. But anyway, then I'll get a score based on just what I can try and figure out with regards to security. Then there'll be a wallet tested. So can I test a desktop or some kind of wallet where I control the private key and the date that that's tested? And wallet comments, so was it easy to use, easy to install, look professional? And then the wallet will get a score. So no local wallet would be -5, local wallet but hard to use or buggy +0, and a decent wallet available is +5. Real world usage other than speculation and investment. So do I think the currency is currently being used in a significant way for anything other than speculation? And if I do, it will get +10 points. Biggest fish in the pond, so is this the largest coin by market cap in its niche? And if it is, it'll get +10, and if it's not, then it won't. And so just other brief comments that aren't addressed by any other points there. And then if I think any of those other comments warrant a score modification, then I'll modify the score. And then a total score rating, so that'll obviously be the sum of all the blue score lines, and then I'll have the website for the coins main URL and some other social media links, what its biggest exchange is and when I last updated that, the references that I used to get the information that I've used to determine the score. This is the document version, author, which at the moment will always be me, my YouTube channel, and if you want to support, if I can get enough support I might be able to employ someone, but that's very pie in the sky at the moment. Obviously I've got a lot of work to do before I'm anywhere near that. And Google Drive, so that's the link to the Google Drive, which contains all the documents and the spreadsheet and things like that if anyone would want to download the spreadsheet. So that's it for the introduction video. Not all of my videos will be crypto comparison videos using this template. I'm sure I'll go off topic here and there. Anyway, I hope you enjoy my future videos, and that's it. Bye.